Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first council meeting of the new year. I'd like to welcome everybody, and I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Is there any additions to the agenda?
Madam Mayor, administration's handed out some supplementary information, but there are no additions from administration.
Okay. Any others from council? Could I have someone move to adopt the agenda? Councillor Jessamine, all in favor? Carried. So bylaw 102421, which is an amendment to the land use bylaw 1018-21 to rezone Plan 5526 NY lots 1 and 6 from industrial to community use, and add park as discretionary use to the community use land use district, and remove hard surfacing of any yard from the list of developments not requiring a development. So I'm going to call this hearing to order at 7:01. My name is Crystal McAteer, and I will chair this public hearing, and all questions and comments shall be directed through me. Council's here to listen to the information and make a decision on the matter. This is a formal hearing, not a debate. Everyone wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to speak once to the matter as called upon. Each presenter must state his or her full name and their interest in the matter, including whether they are in support or non-support. Individuals who do not identify themselves will not be given the opportunity to speak. Presenters are to stay within a 5-minute time limit on the presentation and are encouraged when speaking to keep the presentation to point and refrain from restating points raised by previous speakers. I'd like to call upon the designated staff from Land Use Planning to introduce the subject of the hearing. Council members may ask questions for clarification, and they may call upon the agent to read any relevant correspondence. Welcome.
Mayor, Mr. Zachary Mezzatesta will present on behalf of administration.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I am here today to present the public hearing for Bylaw 1024-21, which is an amendment to Land Use Bylaw 1018-21. There are 3 amendments to 1018-21. The first being the rezoning of Plan 5526 NY, lots 1 and 6, from their current land use district of industrial to a new land use district of community use. The second amendment is the addition of park as a discretionary use to the community use land district. And the third amendment is the removal of clause 4.2.1J, which is the hard surfacing of a yard for vehicular access from a roadway to a garage or carport in its entirety from the land use bylaw, and the existing clauses of 4.2.1K through N would become clauses 4.2.1J through M. On December 13th, 2021, Bylaw 1024-21 received its first reading by Council. Administration then gave public notice on December 16th to the general public, and to this date, we have not received any concerns from the public regarding this matter.
Okay, thank you. I guess we have no speakers, so there's no sense going through that part. Council, do you have any questions or clarifications that you need to ask? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to conclude this public hearing then at 7:05. Okay. So the next item is number 6, our December 12th meeting, approval of minutes.
Madam Mayor, my apologies for interrupting. We do need a motion to close the public
Oh, I was looking for that and it doesn't say that. Could I have a motion to close the meeting, please?
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Welke, all in favor? Carried. All right, approval of minutes from the December 12th meeting. Questions? No? Okay, Councillor Jessamine, all in favor? Carried. And I apologize, it does say I can't read. Okay, so my report. December 15th, I attended the Rainbow Lake Roadshow for Ready. There was a series of 3 workshops which are about municipal leaders and stakeholders exploring how their communities can participate in energy transition. There was 3 going on at the time that I was there, so I listened to the geothermal presentation. And I guess it's an opportunity, but it's really not an opportunity to expand your boundaries very much for your community, because it only can go up to 10 kilometers. So I don't know what kind of an opportunity it is. So anyways, that was kind of interesting. I never knew that before. On December 15th, Ready has applied for a women's entrepreneurial grant. And this is a recovery challenge grant to support Albertan women and girls for economic recovery. And for the project to be eligible, it must increase women and girls' representation in STEM, which is science, technology, energy, and whatever. I can't remember what M is. Do you remember? Increase women and girls in entrepreneurial and decrease barriers. So we've applied for that grant, and it's anywhere from $25,000 to $120,000. Ready, surprisingly enough, was also looking to hire a facilitator to complete a strategic plan. So they're going to look into that, as well as Andrew will also take a course at the U of A called Leading Strategic Planning. And it's from February 3rd to February 24th. Ready, it will maintain its membership in the hemp industry, and we move to accept the final versions of the CAN export videos. I think they're shared now. Did you say you watched them? The CAN export videos?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you watched them. Okay, well, I watched them, but I don't know if they've put them on our pages yet. December 16th, we had a meeting with Minister Wilson where we discussed the disaster recovery program and the fact that the government still owes us $2.6 million and that we've lost opportunity cost of approximately $600,000, not including human resources costs. We discussed the inequity in mental health up here. The fact that we're facing a huge mental health and addictions crisis, and this is ongoing with staff relocations, and then the not hiring of Paul Soper, who was a psychiatrist for our region. AHS solution to having locums, we believe, is not a solution, and we believe this is wholly inadequate. So the communities, high level, Rainbow Lake, Mackenzie County, and along with Fort Vermilion School Division, wrote a letter to Dr. Verna Yu of AHS requesting a meeting with her. And we didn't get a meeting with her, but we're having a meeting on Thursday with the zone director, Dr. Brian Muir. We discussed the fact that we think the province should begin to recognize partnerships between municipalities and First Nations or Métis settlements, so that we can move forward on projects, because in our case our nearest partner is is a First Nation, and we've already had to, we've faced barriers of not having projects completed because of it. Finally, we requested that Minister Wilson discuss with his counterpart, the Honourable Mark Miller, to the importance and urgency of this facility, and hopefully he will become a champion in the federal government. We had a meeting with Dr. Alula, and she is from the physician group, and CAO McCaskill showed her around on the Saturday, and then some of council met with her in the evening, and I'm happy to say that she has signed a contract to come back to high level. So that's great. The CAO and I met with Boreal Housing and local AHS to discuss the requirements once again for renovations and getting a nursing contract for SL4 and SL4D clients. We were to have a meeting, thank God it was canceled because I forgot about it. And it's going to be next week to meet with AHS again and Alberta Health, or Alberta Seniors. The big holdup is AHS. Like, they want all these changes. And they've kind of whittled them down to about 4 changes, and those are the last 4 that will be discussed in our meeting on the 18th. I took the municipal elected officials course on emergency management. It was really good. Then I took the basic emergency, not so good, because it was exactly the same as the municipal elected, and they wouldn't let me forward and go do the exam. I had to do the whole workshop over again, but I did it. And then I did the ICS 100 course, which was, I thought, a very well done course, seems it was virtual. And it was an introductory course to the incident command system. And I sure wish I would have known all of the stuff I know now that I knew when we had Chuck Hay, and maybe I wouldn't have been so persistent, let's say, on being allowed in here to talk with people. So yeah, that's my report. If anybody has any questions, please disregard what's on the last page. That was for something else. If anybody has any questions, I'll answer them. Mathematics, right.
Is M.
I knew that, I just kind of couldn't.
I looked it up.
Is there any questions? If you're not taking the ICS course, I recommend you take it. It's really interesting, and then we can go and be in command system somewhere. No. All right, could I have someone move my report then?
I'll move the mayor's report.
Councillor Welke, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so council committee reports from Deputy Mayor.
On December 14th, I attended the High Level Forest Public Advisory Group. FOLCO is starting to work on their next forest management plan. It's now, the area encompassed by it's being changed to the Upper Hay Regional Forest Management Plan, which is going to include F11, F14, and F26. It's comes into effect in May of 2025 and then goes through 10-year cycles over a 200-year time horizon. And they're just looking to get consistent strategies across the region, which is why they're sort of encompassing it all in together. December 15th, I was at the same ready meeting as the mayor. On December 16th, did some Christmas light judging. Great job by all participants, and even lots of non-participants in the region that had some great displays. And then on the 17th, attended the town staff party, and kudos to staff that arranged all of that. Great job. Good time was had by all.
So I feel like I asked this question somewhere before. Doesn't F11 belong to Beaver? No? Well, okay. Okay, thank you. Councillor Anderson?
December the 17th, I also attended the Christmas party and kudos to the organization committee. It was, I think, fairly well attended, and I think everybody had a really good time. A little loud, but...
But we're old.
December 18th, I was also at the meeting with our new doctor, and hopefully we were the influence that got her to come.
I think we were pretty convincing.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I met her at the airport the next day. I was picking up my sister-in-law, and she said, I'm going to sign. So that was good. Yeah.
Firsthand.
Councillor Dwyer?
Not much for me. December 18th, I also attended the dinner meeting with Dr. Lula, and that is essentially it.
Councillor Jessamine?
December 16th, I attended the meeting with you with Minister Wilson. That evening was part of the Christmas light judging, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that, and yeah, again, it was well set up, and look forward to doing it again next year. I think it's great for the town, and it's good to see the pickups from last year. There's more people doing it, and it's getting bigger and better, so that's exciting. On the 17th, I attended the Christmas party. My wife and I really enjoyed it and had a great time. And again, thank you for everybody organizing that. And the music wasn't too loud for me, but...
You're younger than us.
No, yeah. So I enjoyed it and had a great time. And so thank you for that. It was a good time. And then on the 18th of December, attended the supper meeting with our new doctor that's going to be coming to town. So again, that's it.
Did you get that email from me?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah, I reviewed it and...
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Lambert?
Unfortunately, I missed the Christmas light judging. I got my dates mixed up and thought it was on Friday, not Thursday. But like Councilor Jessamine was saying, it looks like everyone is getting a lot more into it, so it's nice to see a lot more lights this year, just from driving around town. On December 17th, I went to the town Christmas party, which again, thanks to everyone who organized that. It was really nice to be out with everybody once again in public. And then again on the 18th, just as the other councillors and mayor, we went to the meeting with Dr. Lula, which was really nice. She seemed really excited to actually just to be in the town with the community. It seemed like she enjoyed the people and what we have to offer here. So excited to see her come and join us.
Thank goodness she left before the 40 below. Councillor Welke?
I have no meetings to report for this period.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Can I get someone to move the reports? Deputy Mayor? All in favor? Carried. So the council action list. Is there any questions on the action list? Yes?
Do we have an update on the RSSA with the county?
Just before the Christmas break, Director Phillips and I met with Acting CEO Peters and their CFO Jennifer Batt. We went through some of the stuff to roll over year end in lieu of the agreements not being ready for signature. They were quite in agreement that everything should be set up, so we've set up the payables and the receivables on that end. We've also agreed to the $1 transfer of the fire tender to get that off of the agreement. They're quite happy with the fact that if we can get the annexation agreement, the South Water Supply Agreement and the RSSA signed, they realize that the franchise agreement for water going north will take a little longer because of its complexity. Exchanged emails with our legal counsel today. They're reviewing it this evening for the final pass on it to forward it to the county for signature. Those three anyway. The franchise agreement, because of the review of the Alberta Utilities Commission, will take, I'm expecting it's going to take an extra 2 to 3 months.
So have we received the 2021 payment from them yet?
We haven't received it yet, but they do have a check request that went in for their January 4th, their start of the year check run. So Director Batt mentioned that they are going to be paying out the 40%, or sorry, the radius that we originally agreed on in the original RSSA until the new RSSA is signed. So they're gonna upfront the $500 and some thousand, and then they're going to pay us the difference once everything is signed for the $1 million.
The $1 million will remain a receivable.
So aren't we getting to the point where there's some lost opportunity cost here?
Yeah.
Like, it's $1 million that's been outstanding for a year?
I wouldn't disagree with that, but odds are we would not have received anything until fall anyway, so we're probably, I think we're 2 or 3 months behind on this, but I don't see that as a fault of the county or the town right now. It's just the legal counsel needs to get together and get this completed.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question to Director Straub about the MOU for the water service agreement. What are we waiting for now that the Denny are moving ahead on their own standalone wastewater and it's not going to be part of the agreement?
So Madam Mayor, the current agreement as stands and was submitted to the Denny covered the water servicing alone. Since then, they've requested to run a force main from the subdivision on the west side of the bridge back to the town on high level, and that force main will be accessible by our ratepayers who may wish to connect to that, and it will tie in over by Ringrose Accounting's building. So until that force main is finished and they have the alignment, then that will always remain. That is separate to any of the remaining wastewater treatment they're going to do on site. So that will always be there. And we have to have a servicing agreement for that main.
So who of the town would connect to that?
So we have the 2 church properties
Okay.
along there, potentially the Mahady property along there, Richardson Pioneer, and then a couple of, all the land from Highway 58 to the south side of the creek has no sewer servicing at this time, only water. So any of those properties could be potentially developed and connected to that force main through a low pressure pumping system of the commercial water.
But we're not going to wait with an MOU to the Denny until that's done, are we?
So all we're waiting for from the Denny is to get feedback on the original servicing agreement for the water, and then we'll add the wastewater component to that. Currently, we have just approved the potential right-of-way, alignment down the right-of-way to get the line to town. Again, there was some discussion on ownership, and we've got that clarified. So once that process is in place, then we'll have the servicing portion of that wastewater added to the water agreement, so it's one agreement instead of 2 separate agreements. In the future, if there is a mutual partnership on a wastewater treatment system, that would be a completely separate agreement.
Okay.
This is just a service line back to the town in order to connect the subdivision and any of our potential, including the rodeo grounds in the futures.
They haven't started to receive water through that system, have they?
No, they haven't.
Okay. Any other questions? Do I have someone move to accept that? Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried. Upcoming events, any questions? Could I have someone move to accept this?
I'll move for information.
Councillor Anderson, trying to remember everybody's name. All in favor? Carried. Monthly report to council.
Madam Mayor, just a note, the community services report was distributed
Yes.
separately.
No questions? Okay, I have one question. The ACAP lighting, is that public?
Haven't heard, Madam Mayor.
It's in your report.
Yeah, it's initially been awarded. It's in the report as being in the process of being finalized.
I haven't told a soul because you told me I couldn't.
Yes.
And there were no bells and whistles, and I didn't hear the announcement by the minister, so I never said a word.
And now
Right?
we did.
Deputy Mayor? I just said we had an exciting new project. So it's public now, I can tell everybody?
I'm not sure it's in my report, so I guess so.
We won't make a formal announcement at this time.
I will get back to you on that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Is there any other questions on administrative reports? No? Could I have someone move them, please? Councillor Dwyer, all in favor? Carried. Under old business, the RFD, is there any further discussion on this RFD? Yes.
I'll move second reading.
Deputy Mayor moves second reading. All in favor? Carried. Still no questions? Okay, could I have a third reading, please? Councillor Dwyer, all in favor? Carried. Let's get that park built. Under new business, briefing note for non-structural mitigation grant.
Madam Mayor, Director Schmidt will answer any council questions.
Everybody had a chance to understand what this grant is about? Give us a Coles note, Director Schmidt.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Briefly, as a very short briefing note said, the Dennytown First Nation is doing an application through the NSMP Emergency Management Grant through Indigenous Services Canada. This is for phase 4 of the Regional Emergency Plan. It will include Rainbow Lake and Paddle Prairie Métis Settlement. So we have had initial discussions with them. We've already received a letter of support from Rainbow Lake. This is just to provide a letter of support for that grant application. We will be doing a concurrent Alberta Community Partnerships grant. We already have a letter of support from the last round from council on that one.
That was the grant that we got turned down on the first time because First Nations weren't considered a partner.
Now that we have Rainbow Lake and Paddle, we're resubmitting.
All right. Any questions of Director Schmidt? Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Dwyer moves to write a letter of support. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. 14.1 was correspondence for action. Do you want to discuss this, CAO?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy New Year to the Mayor and Council, everybody watching. Just thankful it's not -35 anymore. We received correspondence from Mr. Williams' office requesting the opportunity to meet with council the week of January 24th. We had suggested that it might be easier to do a lunch meeting on the Tuesday or Wednesday. Generally, we try to avoid the Mondays and Fridays. So we can leave that up to council, and then also they would like to know which items they'd like to discuss. This evening, we handed out a letter in response to our query regarding the disaster response plan, or disaster recovery plan, and we've, from Mr. Williams, we've placed that with you as well as the topics that we've written to the government about over the last 3 or 4 months. So, administration is looking for direction from council on if the lunch meeting would be preferable. We could probably also do an evening meeting if that was preferable, and what topics you would like to broach with Mr. Williams.
So originally he wanted to come into our council meeting?
They just thought it might be easier. That was just Eva's thought, that it might be easier to come into a council meeting because everybody was there. We thought that the discussion might be a little more open if we could do it as a lunch meeting.
I'm thinking it's a little more open if he can discuss everything in front of all the people he represents. What does council want? Do you have preference? Council meeting, dinner meeting?
It's a good point that you bring up, being in front of the community members, being able to hear the questions.
But will this meeting be as part of a regular council session, like he would be a delegate, or would this be a meeting after council, in which case then it wouldn't be recorded?
He would come into our council meeting as on the agenda.
Council meeting.
Council meeting?
I'm not sure it matters, because I don't think you'll realize he's the rest of the public anyhow, so.
With supper.
What do you, is that everybody's preference then for him to come into our council meeting and we bring up the subjects that we have here? Because I think he needs added clarification about what this is. I don't know if they're getting clear information from their administration. Like, to me, when I read this letter, it was like, it was Jerry's fault that we weren't getting this done, that there's 5 projects that they're awaiting stuff from us, and that's not true.
And
Yes,
I feel like this just reiterates exactly what our summary has said prior when we've asked DRP to give us an update. We know how many projects we have outstanding. We know the payments that we have outstanding made to us. This isn't really news to the town of High Level.
that's my, that was my read on this was, you know, it's kind of sitting with us and they're trying to collect this information from us.
Nor does it fully address the question council
No.
put to
Yeah.
the minister.
No,
Where's the money?
yeah, where's our money? We have things to do with it. And it comes from our taxpayers. So I guess we will see him at our next council
Yep.
meeting.
We'll do that. There were, on top of the disaster recovery plan, there was also the municipal population issue. The multipurpose facility, of course, he's quite familiar with. We can add that again. And I don't have the sheet sitting in front of me, but, well, with it,
The water line at the airport,
water line.
the asphalt funding for 92nd and,
The grant,
yeah,
the grant funding for the resource.
And the issue of treating First Nations as municipal
Mhm.
partners. Yeah.
and also just tied in with the disaster recovery, the fact that the province still hasn't recognized anything within our municipality as opposed to other municipalities. Now we're in the potentially, what, $350 million range?
Mhm.
Yep,
All right,
and,
so essentially everything on the list with the exception of the RCMP issues.
and perhaps, you can bring supper at 5:30 for Counselor Wilkie.
If I can make it. I'll
If
go.
Councilor Wilkie can even get here, yeah.
One
Wait, yeah,
for you.
yeah. We could offer that to Mr. Williams if he's on the road anyway.
Yeah, if he's here.
Yeah, if he can make it for supper, we'll arrange for a supper meeting as well.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, do you want to,
Motion probably to set him, request him as a delegation.
okay, request to make, somebody want to do that? Do you have that? Okay. Counselor Jesselman makes that motion. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence for information, is there anything that anyone wants to discuss? If not, I will,
I'll make a motion to accept for information.
Counselor Jesselman moves to accept for information. All in favor? Carried. So this ends our public portion of our first meeting of 2022. I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and please attend on January 26th when MLA Williams will be making appearance.
24.
Is it 24? Sorry, 24. I just read 26th on Eva's letter. Could I have someone make a motion to move in camera, please?
I'll make a motion.
Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried.